Hello, I'm Chi Chi Izundu, one of the news reporters here at BBC News, and we'd like to welcome you to the BBC News Facebook Live. I'm joined by a legend, I would say, if it's fair enough to say, Jeremy Vine, who's in charge of the virtual reality when it comes to election night. Talk us through exactly what your job is on election night.
Well, trying not to look too crazy, Chi Chi, basically. But here, this is it. This is our green swimming pool here. Everything is green because the computer knows that everything that's green must be replaced with graphics. So if I press I've got this clicker here, and I press it, and you see the House of Commons come on here. So we're now standing in the House of Commons. And at this point, I get very excited because I think, well, we could do all kinds of things. Would you like to see the result of the last general election?
Why
Should we
not?
do that?
Let's go. Let's do it.
Well, the thing to say, the really basic thing to say about the House of Commons, you know this, Chi Chi, is it's got 650 MPs, and therefore, by definition, to take control, you need just over half, so you need 326. So most of the night, I'm just pointing, saying, are they going to get there? That's basically it. Now, last time we had that question, here's Theresa May. You see, we brought the blue MPs on now. Theresa May didn't get there. It was an absolute bungle by her. So she was 318, so she's just short. So that's kind of how we illustrate it.
Interesting, but I can see, which our viewers on Facebook cannot see right now, there is a seat here. Do you ever take it?
Let's sit on the actual seat. Now, interestingly, I think if we turn the graphics off, you can see that we're on a sort of a...
Oh, we really are.
Yes, get the graphics off for a second. There we are. So we're on this funny old, very boring piece of wood. But now if you put them back on again, there we are.
We're in the House of Commons.
We're in the House of Commons.
Now, when you're doing this, do you ever fear that you might slightly get a bit too excited and come out of or bang into certain parts of the graphic?
We had one with... We were doing something on Ming Campbell. He was the Lib Dem leader at the time, and he'd been a sprinter. And we tried to do something involving someone passing me a baton. But they had to stand underneath a green sheet, and the graphic was delayed by an hour. This person, I think it was on work experience, had to stand under a green sheet and pass the baton out. That was the weirdest moment. As for banging into things, yes. I think if I walk towards the camera, for example, you'll see at some point, I think my head will disappear.
Yes.
Or if we go... There's a point at which we stop.
Disappear. Oh, there you go. You're starting to disappear.
You see?
Yes.
So that's called the if we're getting technical here, that's called the garbage map. That's the bit where the graphic exists, but there is no reality at all.
Okay.
So a person can go slightly crazy here, as you can imagine. I'm the only person in the country who can't see where I am.
Okay. So forgot to ask our viewers on Facebook to send in as many comments as they possibly can.
Yeah, really clever questions that will catch me out. That's what we want. Yeah.
One of the most famous parts of your thing of the election night is your swingometer.
Yes.
Can we see the swingometer, please?
You can see the swingometer, Chi Chi. Ready? Here we go. Let's bring it on. Oh, yes, first let's just put the opposition MPs on, because this is the result. Do you remember Labour 262 and SNP 35? And all these numbers are like tattooed on my head. And then back here, there we are. Theresa May short by 8. So those are our numbers. OK, swingometer. Here it is. There we are. So you see a little bit of a shadow on the wall. Now, you're looking at the graphic here, but Chi Chi and I we can see a shadow. That's just a guide for us to help us.
A faint print.
A faint print is exactly the word.
And talk us through, what exactly is a swingometer and why is it so important on election night? OK,
a little bit of history. In the 50s, the whole country voted the same way, basically. So you would have... The first seat would come in, and it would be like 60% Labour, 40% Conservative, and they would immediately predict. They'd put the swingometer, they'd show you how much it had moved, and they would predict the whole election result. These days, the country's a much different patchwork. So what we use the swingometer for is we'll take a region like London or Scotland a country, of course, and we will look at the way votes are moving between two of the parties. So classically here, Conservative and Labour. And here's how it works. These dots are individual seats in the House of Commons. Exactly. Now, if let us say there's a 2% shift towards the Conservatives push. Look at how excited I'm getting already.
I know.
The arrow...
We still have 2 whole days.
I'm so excited. The arrow pushes the 2%, and these red seats here go blue. And then, the biggest swing we ever had, fascinating, was in 2015 in Scotland, where the SNP took the arrow right up the side of the wall and broke it. So that's the swingometer. It's still doing great, trusty service. The one thing I would say is back in the day in the 50s, you'd have a national swing. Now we have to break it down into areas because this country behaves so differently in different parts.
Indeed. Right, I've got more questions for you.
Great.
Amanda is asking, can you come and cover the US election?
Can I come and cover the US election? Yes, well, we did cover the US election in 2016. And funny, hang on, let me just work this out because I get confused here because Brexit was 2016 and so was the US election. That's right. It was a massive year. And I was doing the graphics for the US election here, but my colleagues Andrew Neil and Emily Maitlis were in Washington. So, yes, absolutely. And, of course, I'll come and cover any election. I love elections are great.
I know, I can see by your excitement.
You know, they're all different.
They are indeed.
The systems.
Somebody wants to know, Chris, how many cameras do you have at any one point on you in the studio?
Let me just come right. Let me just ask Jimmy, isn't it, Dad, to just have a little look around the studio. So the two things. Well, this is a sort of reverse camera that shows behind me here. If you can see that there, or is it covered? It's probably covered by the. Let's take the graphics off, and I can show you. Right. So this one is sort of static because it shows a view behind me. This one's Jakey here. This is a movable camera. Then there's a monitor with Chi Chi on and another monitor. A lot of monitors, so I can just work out where I am in the graphic. And back here we've got, actually the brains of the whole operation is Tom. They call us Tom and Jerry. Tom is the one who knows every single seat. So if I ask him a seat, he will know. So let's just think, Middlesbrough and Cleveland South.
Simon Clark.
Simon Clark, look at that.
Wow.
He knows every blimmin' seat. Then we've got Dom, and Dom's there, and there's stuff. Basically, there's quite a lot going on.
So Emmanuel asks, how long will it take to announce the results? And will you be here all night? What time does your shift start?
So I will be here all night. I'll be here till about 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning. So the answer is that the polls close at 10.
Yep.
We have an exit poll.
Yep.
There is a guy who does the exit poll whose brain is the size of Cornwall, and he's got it right the last two elections, the results. So if you wait for the exit poll, we can have sometimes astonishing predictions. But the results flood in at about 3, 4 in the morning.
OK.
Is the answer. And we'll be there throughout and just getting more and more excited.
Which is shocking, if I'm honest.
Shockingly excited.
Well, because how do you keep your excitement up? Do you have snacks?
What
and
a
if so,
good question.
What are they?
Such a broadcaster's question.
Yes.
The answer is the day before I get up really early on the Thursday morning. I have the day off and I'll have a sleep maybe from noon till 6. And it's only at about 3 in the morning that my body suddenly realises it's been tricked. And then it crashes. And at that point, Tom and I get coffee and probably some Rolos.
That's it?
I think you need a bit of a rush.
Wow.
And then hopefully they'll... What food would we have at 3 in the morning, guys? What's the... Is it Haribo's? What's our preference?
Pretty good.
Chelsea buns. Chelsea buns.
Can I just say, you need to uptake your sugar, because that is disappointing, if I'm honest.
I think sugar's the enemy these days.
Well, supposedly.
I do worry about it. I'll probably eat some raw nuts at some point.
Yes, there is that as well.
Yeah.
So another question that we've got in, does all of this green hurt your eyes? I know we can't see it right now because we're still in the swingometer.
The green doesn't hurt my eyes, but I tell you what we've done is we've gone into Broadcasting House, which is the BBC main building, as you know. And we used to be in Elstree, and Elstree is where they do Strictly Come Dancing. So Elstree is like a massive velodrome. And with Elstree, we had width and depth and height. And here we're a bit more constricted. So what we've got, the thing that you brilliantly said, the faint print of this graphic that allows me to see a trace of what's there, is put on the wall by a projector, which you can see behind me, but I won't ask you to look at it because it's too bright. And the projector is basically flickering at me all night. And I think at some point, if I had it for more than a day, my head would explode.
Hurt.
It might hurt, yes. Let me show you. Let's bring it on a bit. Hang on, I've got another graphic for you. So this is, so here we are. Look at this. We're inside Central Lobby in the Houses of Parliament.
So George wonders, will you be back at Downing Street? Because I do recall you being outside number 10.
Yes, Gigi, I was outside number 10, and I will be there. And one thing that's happened, we've with our graphics, we've struggled a little bit because they tend to take about 3 years to put together, and we've had elections every 2 years for the last 3 elections. So in 2015, something amazing happened, which was that I was in Downing Street, and for the first time in history, it looked like I was in Downing Street. Previously, it always looked like I or Peter Snow, my predecessor, was in a graphic. suddenly people thought I was in Downing Street and they started to complain. When the sun came up, it was still dark, and they said it must be faked. And we said, no, of course, it's a graphic. It was like the biggest breakthrough moment. So this, to me, I mean, this is as... what are we lacking? If I look at the monitor here, what we're doing standing here in Central Lobby, is there anything that gives it away that says we're not actually there? There's a slightly odd quality of where our shoes touch the floor.
Yeah, if we go too far back.
Yeah, you would. No, you wouldn't. Too far back is okay. I mean, there's a wall back here.
Yes.
But by that stage, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
I think there's a lack of shadows. And that, one thing that we had in Downing Street that was amazing is we had a street light and they had a spotlight where it was, and therefore you saw a shadow. That was incredible. But there's some, I don't know, it's pretty good though, you know.
It is pretty good.
Pretty good.
So I've got a nice comment here from, I'm just looking for it.
It was nice
from,
comment on social media, it's impossible.
No, it's true, but somebody wanted to, Primula, and I hope I've pronounced her name correctly, wants to applaud everyone that most people can't see for all the hard work that they've put into this.
They are working so hard.
Which brings us on to a nice question-ish. What happens if it all goes wrong?
Oh, well, it does go wrong sometimes. I remember last time I had an iPad to control one of the graphics, and it went on lock screen. And I was just looking at it thinking, that's not good. And then I heard David Dimbleby say, and Jeremy Vine is here with the latest. And I thought, I don't know what to do. And I had to ask the floor manager, whose name was Matt, to come and unlock it. So he sort of, oh no, it's Brendan. He came and he had a great moment. But Dom, that's you on the night, to unlock the iPad. We do, one of the things is, if you play Grand Theft Auto, which I was once addicted to, I was so addicted I had to take out the CD-ROM from my computer and smash it.
The fact that you've called it CD-ROM
says
a lot,
it was
but
back
anyway.
in the day, back in the day. Anyway, the graphics on that are incredible. And you might say, well, these ones aren't as incredible as Grand Theft Auto. That's true. But what we cannot have is graphics that buffer or stick.
Yes.
So they have part of the server space is just to make them robust. And the joy of it is things do go wrong, but they are quite robust, actually. Yeah. 2
quick fire questions.
Anything.
Are you allowed to wear green? And Jamie asks, when will you see you first on election night? At what time?
I'm not allowed to wear green. I'm going to take a piece of tape off the floor here that's green. And I will show you why I'm not allowed to wear green, which is, sorry, everybody, I've just removed an important piece of tape. If I put green on my head, what on earth is that?
Right, OK.
Right, that's why I'm not allowed to wear green. And a green, oh, don't take my hair off it. And a green tie, right? Have a look at that, would be a green tie effect there. Just a minute, let's just do this right. OK, that's why you're not allowed to wear green. Have a look at my tie effect there.
Yes.
But on the screen, you see that? So that's why you can't wear green. And then on the night, we'll be on at the very first seconds of the programme, actually, because what we'll do, well, I've got to put this down in the right place.
Thankfully, it's left a nice mark.
Yeah, it has. It's actually
so
left a nice mark on my jacket
will
as well.
shout at you.
But the answer is yes. At the very start, we'll have the exit poll and we'll show you what our House of Commons looks like. We think, it's all just predictions at that stage.
Well, I'm going to say to everyone at home, don't forget, you can join us live across the BBC and we'll be back. I won't be, but you definitely will be back at 10 p.m. on Thursday for the election results.
Thank you, Chi Chi, and thanks for watching. Thank you.
Thank you.